Hello and welcome to episode 214 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Bienvenidos al podcast de HHH Racing. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on a very special show with a fantastic guest all the way coming us live from Uruguay in South America. I'm very excited to have our guest. We'll be bringing him on in just a moment to talk about the Gulfstream late pick 5 this Saturday. Please make sure you subscribe at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, right down there. And after you do that, hit that notification bell. That would greatly help this channel. And please smash that thumbs up button as well. That would also help the channel. We greatly appreciate it. You can see on the bottom of the screen my Twitter handle at H Kravitz, and then of course on the scroll at the bottom of the screen, hkravitzhorse at gmail.com. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Anchor, so please check that out if you prefer to listen to us. Also, we have fantastic power picks. The annual subscription is ending this month, so if you want 2 free months, check it out right now. Look below the video player in the description. You go on to patreon.com. You can get 2 free months of our power picks. And wow, did our power picks rock and roll last week. And if you're listening to us here and you prefer Spanish, we got that too. Suscribase al HHH Racing Podcast Power Picks. Yanda There's the website. Información debajo del reproductor de video. Suscripción anual con 2 meses gratis disponible desde ahora. How's that? Not bad, huh? I've been working on my Spanish. That I knew my high school and college Spanish would help me out. So if you're a Spanish speaker, our guests will be able to talk to you a little bit in Spanish as well. But check out our power picks. Also, very excited. We have a new show coming up in only a few weeks. We're going to be promoting it quite a bit. It's going to be on Wednesday nights. It's going to be hosted by one of our fantastic co-hosts, Kyle Roscoe. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll tell you more about that in the coming weeks. So we're very excited about that as well. All right. I think that takes care. Oh, sorry. One more thing. We have a fantastic website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Check out our website. Now, if you're a dual language learner and listener and speaker, and you prefer to ask questions in Spanish tonight, when we bring on our guests, they'll be happy to respond to you in Spanish. So we welcome all of our Spanish listeners from all over the world, specifically Latin America. I hope you're going to be joining us tonight and will enjoy the podcast. So before we bring on our guests, let me bring on 2 fantastic co-hosts. First, from the Saratoga Special, Mr. Paul Halloran, and from Des Plaines, Illinois, Kyle Roscoe. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Good. The new mic's rocking. Hopefully there's no cutouts tonight, and we're hopefully, like I said, we're going to kick it off here.
Paul, how does the new mic sound?
He sounds terrific, I got to say. Better than ever.
Paul, how's your Spanish?
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
Okay. Limited.
Yeah,
all right,
muy limited.
Okay, that's okay. We can handle that. I can cover some of the Spanish. Guys, we got a lot to talk about, and I want to go ahead and bring in our guests very quickly. But before we bring in our guests, Paul, last thing. You, sir, give it up for Paul Halloran. Absolutely crushed the pick 5. I should have joined you, but I was muy stupido in the last race. I didn't have Mr. Gaffleone on the 8 for some ungodly reason, even though I had 5 horses. But congratulations with an over $2,000 score in the pick 5 for only $54 given out on our power picks. And Paul, you and I in the first 4 legs had 3 A's and 1 B. And not only that, right here on the show last week, Paul, of the first 4 legs, we had 3 winners together and 1 second. So you and I really, you got the big score, of course, the pick 5, but I think we really gave some great information last week to our viewers.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, Howard, even a blind squirrel. So we'll, it's just one of those days when things came together, and I actually think I might have had 4 A's going into the last leg, but I'm not. It didn't matter. Believe it or not, I played the rare caveman ticket last week, just because a multitude of reasons, but fortunately it worked out. But speaking of which, Howard, someone is very upset with you, and I believe he sent you. Did you receive a video from one of our friends?
I did. Would you like me to? You want to talk about that now, real quick?
Well, I think you're talking about the pick 5. I mean, this guy, you've really upset him, but it's going to be a happy ending. I want you to. He and I have been talking and offline behind your back, and I want you to play this video. This guy is upset with your onerous demands on your co-host when it comes to pick 5 play. So why don't you play it for our listeners?
All right, let me bring it in here. I believe you're talking about Matt Miller has a video.
And I tried, yes, and trust me, he would love to have been here live. He was at a family Christmas party that he thought about ducking out of, but let's just let him speak for himself.
All right, so this is Matt Miller. I haven't heard this. He's got a message for me, I suppose,
yes.
And everyone. Let's hear from Matt Miller.
Hey everybody, it's Matt. I just want to join in the pile-on, congratulating Paul on a great job this last weekend. Howard, I also want to thank you. You gave me the inspiration for a really nice idea. I've worked it out now with Paul. It's tough as a viewer watching you as yet another one of these people with this strict adherence for budgets. And I think you know my attitude about following the rules and things like that. So I've worked it out with these guys. They've got my permission, essentially. Anytime they go over budget, buy those tickets, and we're going to donate the proceeds to the TRF. That didn't quite start with this last one. We didn't get it in place in time, but we're going to make a nice donation in honor of Howard's adherence to budgetary principles. I think that'll be the wording of it. But in any event, congrats again, Paul. And Howard, we're going to have some exciting stuff to tell you about all your handicappers hitting stuff and donating money to the TRF.
Okay. I like how that sounds, Paul. So tell me a little more. What's going on here?
So Matt, and we just didn't have time. Matt and I exchanged a lot of messages on Friday. Of course, I didn't think I'd hit one the first week, and we're trying to figure this out. But what we did do, and if you check your email, you'll see a very funny comment. Matt and I did work out on Sunday that I donated 10% of the ticket to the TRF, and he matched it.
Oh,
so
wow.
Just
Very
from
nice,
that ticket, the TRF has gotten $442 and change. But I would love if you could just check your email and read. When you make a donation, you're allowed to make a comment about what your donation is for. And you could see what Mr. Miller put in his comment on his official TRF matching donation.
All right. I don't recall seeing an email from.
It just came like 2 minutes before the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fresh. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the donation on behalf. I'm sure Kim.
So we're going to work it out. Basically, what we're going to do is maybe play an extra ticket. If it was going to be a $48 ticket and I turn it into a $60 ticket, I might play it once, and Matt and I might play it again. We're still kind of ironing it out. But the bottom line is, any ticket that goes over budget, which, as you know, with me is just about all of them, there will be something in store for Kim Weir and her good people. And we're off to a good start with, as I said, about $442 from last Saturday.
Well, congratulations. That's very, very generous of you. And Matt, thank you very much for I know Kim Weir will use that very well, and all the retired horses appreciate it. So, Paul, thank you. Let's just keep crushing them more. Kyle,
we have to thank you, Howard. We have to thank you because this came about because of your strict, onerous, demanding, unreasonable demands on us. So Matt, to his credit, rebelled. As you know, he can be a rebel. He said, how can I rebel? And he knew that I would be a good accomplice. He and I are going to be very dangerous together in Saratoga, by the way, Howard. I hope you know that.
You helped you and Pete helped cause a kerfuffle on Twitter. I had to people were demanding more. So maybe in 2023 we'll revisit the $50.
The people have spoken.
Well, I had some people agree with me also, though. I got some likes, so I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. All right, Well, anyway, congratulations, Paul, on last week.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's already spent, so congratulations on that too. Kyle, we're about to bring on our guest. Kyle, Siggy Mendoza is our guest tonight, and I know you're big on Twitter. He's very active on Twitter. I hope you follow him. If you don't, are you familiar with Siggy, Kyle?
Big on Twitter is definitely an overstatement for me, but I'll take it. No, I did look him up when we had him on here. I mean, I'm obviously not big into the Latin American horse racing scene and all that, but I mean, he seems to know what he's talking about. So we'll see what happens tonight as we go on.
We're going to find out. We're going to put
I'm
Siggy to the
excited
test.
to see it.
We're going to put him to the test and see. No, he definitely knows what he's talking about. I just had a nice conversation with him before the show. And Kyle and Paul, by the way, apologize for not getting you the link a little bit earlier. So, but it's all good. All right, let's bring him on. And again, if you have any questions for Siggy Mendoza, who we're about to bring on, feel free to ask them in the live chat. If you prefer Spanish, go ahead and type in Spanish. We'll go ahead and relay that message to Siggy. So, without further ado, let's bring on a very popular follow on Twitter. He currently lives in Uruguay. He's a big fan of horse racing. He knows what he's talking about. I highly recommend you follow him on Twitter as well. We'd like to welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, live from Uruguay, Mr. Siggy Mendoza. Siggy,
Hi,
buenos dias. How you doing tonight?
Pretty fine.
Wonderful.
It's an honor to be in your show.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Siggy, we have a lot of people that are watching tonight here in the States and all over the world. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you live in Uruguay now. Where are you from originally, and how did you get involved in horse racing?
Okay, I'm really Venezuelan. I was born in Venezuela, and I moved to Uruguay 5 years ago. I established here, and I live and work in a warehouse here. And well, all my family is a horse racing fan. I come from a horse racing fan family. Since my grandpa, my uncles, my fathers, all likes horses. And well, I am watching horses since I was a kid.
Terrific. And I know I talked to you before the show. You've been to the United States, I believe, twice.
Yes,
and you've
twice.
seen some horse races in the United States, or you've been to Disney World, I know, correct?
Yes, I went to the States only with my family, just to Disney, to just when I'm not watching races.
Okay.
I remember my father wanted to go to Hialeah. I remember Hialeah. Yes, but no, we didn't visit the track.
Got it. Hialeah is unfortunately not running anymore. And I know you're a big fan of the bigger race days, and you follow the road to the Kentucky Derby quite a bit. You like watching and betting the 3-year-olds in the United States, correct?
Exactly. I enjoy the road to the Kentucky Derby and the Oaks.
And the Oaks as well.
Exactly, yes. And I follow the horses, the fairground horses, then the Oakland Stakes, then the Gulfstream Park Stakes, like the Holy Bull, the Fontaine of Youth, the Florida Derby.
Yes. I just saw today, I don't know if you heard, it was in the news in the United States that Forte, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, is pointing to the Fountain of Youth. That is his first race as a 3-year-old. So Forte will be running in the Fountain of Youth, Siggy. And I know you also had a nice winning bet in the Breeders' Cup on Saturday. Why don't you tell the audience what happened to you on Saturday Breeders' Cup Day?
Well, yes, we hit the Big Six. It wasn't a big payout, but it's always tough to hit a Big Six.
Yes.
And yes, unfortunately, we had Stone Age. He was second. We had Ivar, and I thought he was going to win, and he faded in the stretch.
Yes.
And also the Asmussen filly that was in the distaff. He was third by a nose, by a head.
Oh, blue stripe, is that?
Clarier, I
No,
think.
Clarier.
Oh,
Yes.
Clarier. Sorry, yeah.
We had Clarier, and
Ah.
he was 6-1.
Yeah, she went off at
Okay.
a nice price. A lot of people
Yeah.
on this show like Clarier that day.
Yes.
So, yeah, we like Clarier too. Well, Siggy, we appreciate it. We're excited to have you on. Gentlemen, the first thing we're going to do, let me take the current banner off the screen. Very quickly, guys, we're going to just give our top horse, our top choice in race 6. Race 6 on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, is the Via Borghese Stakes outside of the pick 5. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that on the screen right now. And we're just going to give our top pick. This happens at 2:39 approximately Eastern Standard Time. They're going 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf. It's for filly and mares. It's $100,000. There's the field right there, a field of 8. And I'm not going to bring up the past performances for this race. And now you can see us also. Siggy, who is your top choice in race 6 on Saturday?
Well, I go with the favorite. I think beside herself is the
Yes.
long speed of the race,
Yeah.
and all her wins has been gate to wire. And I can see who can duel with her. So I'm taking the long speed in this race.
Yes. And, well, actually, I'll talk about the weather in just a minute. Paul, who are you going with as your top choice in the Via Borghese?
I'm going to go with Flying Fortress, transferred from Shug McGahee to his son. Thought the horse may have run a little better than it looks in the Keeneland race, and he is cutting back just a little. There I go, Kyle.
Oh, there we go. Now, wait,
Yeah, well,
Siggy, I don't know if you're familiar. We have a tradition on this show. If one of us says the wrong sex of the horse, if we say the wrong gender, then you can have a beverage. So if you have a beverage by you, because Paul said he and it's a she, feel free to have a beverage. So based on whatever you like. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. You'll be unconscious, Siggy, if you do it every time we do it wrong, because I do it all the time. I just thought I think this horse might be in a good spot, and I think she is second or third choice, and I think she gets the trip under Junior. That's my pick.
Kyle.
See, I'm agreeing with Siggy. Howard knows I really wanted to pick Viburnum in this race. Kelsey trains a lot of the horses that I have with Crownsway, and I have a half sister in training right now to Viburnum. That's also by the dam, but Siggy said it. The lone speed, I just couldn't do it, especially with Size and Pletcher. Size is a very aggressive rider. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the favorite.
Yeah, beside herself is definitely the horse speed. I'm gonna go with Viburnum, the number 7, for Irad Ortiz. The last race was not very good, but there were excuses. Again, we're not gonna get into details. I don't know. This distance might be an issue for beside herself. She's probably going to wire the field, but I'm going to try to beat the favor of the number 7, Viburnum, for Irad Ortiz. And this is the first weekend, I believe, gentlemen, that he is riding at Gulfstream now. He was on vacation, and now he's riding for the first time at Gulfstream this weekend. Okay, so, guys, before we get into the pick 5 itself, I want to say a few quick things. Let me switch the screen. I'm going to put us on full screen, gentlemen, for just a second here. A few quick things. First of all, to let everyone know, I am off next week. I'm taking sorry, Paul. I'm taking a much-needed vacacion a la Florida. I've been going literally 2 years straight on this podcast, guys, and I love it, and I enjoy what I do, but I do need a little bit of a break, and I'm off of school. So I'm going to be out of town next week. The podcast will be in the very, very capable hands of a Mr. Pete Visco. He will be hosting the show next Thursday, and it's a huge show, Kyle and Paul, and perhaps Siggy, you know this too, because we're going to be previewing Santa Anita opening day, which is Monday, December 26th. They have many huge stakes that day. So Pete will be hosting with Paul and Kyle. I will not be on the show, but it's a fantastic show next Thursday. Everyone should check that out. And the last thing I want to say, and I just wanted to say in the middle of the show, guys, is because I'm not going to hear it next week, I wanted to wish all of my fellow brethren and tribesmen a happy Hanukkah, which starts this Sunday. And of course, to everyone out there, Feliz Navidad, a very Merry Christmas to Paul, Kyle, Siggy, anyone else who celebrates Christmas as well, which is, I know that's not for about a week and a half, but I won't be on the show until after Christmas. So happy holidays to everyone. We cannot thank everyone enough for all the support. Really appreciate it. Kyle and Paul, your Christmas gifts are in the mail, just like the checks in the mails. Anyway, okay, I just wanted to get that out. So let's talk about the pick 5 now, guys. We're going to start with race 7 of the pick 5. I'm going to go ahead and bring the banners up. And Siggy, on the bottom of the screen, you're going to see all of our picks rolling on the bottom of the screen there, so you can see that. Race 7 starts the pick 5 on Saturday at Gulfstream, about 3:09 Eastern. It starts with optional claiming 16,000 down to 8. There's 7 furlongs on the dirt, a very big morning line favorite in the number 2, C Trident, for Gonzalez and Morelos is the combination. And Siggy, I'm going to have you go first. We are all going with the favorite. And as I show the past performances, Siggy, what is it that you like about the number 2, C Trident?
Well, this horse has the best speed figures. He also has a lot of speed, and I was tempted to use this horse as a single, but I find some hidden gems here. Try to beat him, yes, to try to beat him. Yes, he's the deserving favorite. He has all to win this race.
Yes, he's 7-5. You mentioned some hidden gems. I'm assuming you're talking about the number 8, who you have in second. Perfect cut. I have the 8 in third. I see Paul shaking his head also. He likes the 8. Siggy, I'll let you talk first and let Paul talk about the 8 as well. This horse is coming in from California.
Yes, this is a West Coast-based horse. At first glance, you see a bit of declining form, but you can't consider, for example, the race of September 9th. He was trying to stretch out, and this horse is, I think he's a sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, after that race, he moved to Gulfstream Park. On paper, I'm not able to watch XPTV, but on paper, he's working. He has some fast workouts.
Yes.
And also, I will take the weight allowance. There's a huge advantage to run with this apprentice. It is 7 pounds. That's huge.
Yes. So, Siggy, let me put us on screen. You definitely take weight into consideration into your handicapping, yes?
Yes, in this case, yes, I take in the weight allowance.
Paul, I think Siggy's got some great angles there. You like this horse a little bit also.
Yeah, I think Siggy is the most astute guest we've had in a long time, because I agree with everything he said.
I agree.
I too was, I was really looking for a way to beat the 2 because that's our natural inclination. But I said, well, he did get caught last time, but, he didn't really extend, and it was a mile, and I love cutbacks to 7 furlongs. That was a mile race, and he only got beat 3 parts of a length. And, even though his speed figures have gone down the last 2 races, I mean, frankly, Howard, an 86 looks pretty damn imposing in this race, doesn't it? I mean, the 6 has a 93 way back if you want to go off the page. But, yeah, and as far as the 8, I'm thinking if the 2 is going to get beat, how's it going to happen? And I think it's just going to be someone who's going to have to be, relatively in touch with the field and take a run at him. And, I agree. You throw out the second to last race. This guy, Herman Walensky, doesn't start many. He's only started 49 all year, but 16%. He's 2 for 6 at Gulfstream. And lastly, I like the fact that even though this horse is coming from the West Coast, he owns a win at Gulfstream in his PPs.
He does. I echo everything you said. I almost put this horse in second, and actually I considered putting him on top. And then I looked at the 3 for 21. I'm like, maybe I'm going to get a little bit too cheeky there. Kyle, you want to talk about the 6 real quick, who Paul just mentioned? You have the 6 in second. Joe DiBaggio for Gary Jackson off the claim. Just ran an 81 buyer, and looks like the horse that might push the 2 early.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I echoed Paul's extended sentiments where, if I was going to try and beat the 2 at some point, it would have to be someone that's put into the race early. But instead of the 8, I went with the 6. That last replay, granted, it was at a 62.5 claimer, but that last race driving away, again, you can always make it, especially at that level, you can always make that argument. Who did he beat? But again, looking for some type of price that you're going to need to beat the 2 with. Just that last race alone, working really well. And again, I know Howard doesn't like, 6-year-olds. He's raced 45 times, but again, there's one horse that's going to try and beat him. It's going to have to be a course put in play. So that's where I'm going to go for my second choice.
I don't mind 6-year-olds. When they start getting to like 7 or 8, then I start 6 I'm fine with, Kyle, just let you know. Here's my feeling, guys. The 2 is the obvious horse to beat. I put the 3 in second for a few reasons. I don't like the 7-2 morning line at all, by the way. But this is Irad. This is one of the few horses in this race, guys. It looks like he can pass horses, and I'm thinking Irad's going to take a little bit back and make a late run. And if they hook up early with this 2 a little bit, I think the winner is going to come from off the pace. And I'm just throwing the 3 in there, but I hate the morning line. So I'm going 2-3-8. I'm not being real creative here, but I think the 2 is clearly the horse to beat. I think Siggy made some excellent points. This horse is just razor sharp. I mean, razor sharp. He's done nothing wrong. I guess you could say he's declining in figs, but all this horse does is run well. And what's weird, Paul, about this horse is by Mizzen Mast, and he's running really well on the dirt. So, this is just an honest horse, and I think it's gonna be tough to beat. And Morales is the regular rider too. So I don't have too much clever to say here, guys. Let's go on to the next race. Now we got to talk about the weather situation in Florida. Siggy, I'm going to have you go first as we talk about this next race. As I go ahead and switch over to race 8. Race 8. Actually, no, that's not the race I want to talk about the weather. I'm sorry. Race 8 is a maiden special weight. This is for 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs. There are a lot of first-time starters in this race. You can see the field there of 9. The morning line favorite is number 8, Infinite Series, for Safi Joseph and Irad Ortiz. Siggy, you're going to go with the number 6, who has a lot of early speed and has experience. The number 6 is Point Liam for Teresa Pompey and Vasquez. Why do you like the 6 horse, Siggy?
Yes, I took Point Liam, especially because he's the experienced horse. And if you note, he failed last time out. But you see, he was wearing blinkers that day. And now the blinkers are removed. So,
Yes.
so probably he didn't like the blinkers that day. He was a heavy favorite in that race with blinkers. And now the blinkers are off. So he's working steadily, and he has experience, he has speed. And this group, it's a tricky race, I know. But this group, I can see a superstar in this group. So I want to see him taking the lead and see what happens.
Is there any chance that this horse can win from off the pace, Siggy, or do you think he has to have the lead to win?
Well, he has shown speed in all his 3 races. So I think he's going to show speed again.
Yes, I agree. I think if none of the first-time starters fire, this is definitely the horse that has a chance. None of us, Siggy, the other 3 of us, don't like your 6 because I guess we believe one of the first-time starters is going to fire. I have a lot of information, mucho información, por estes caballos in this race. I got a lot of information about horses in this race and stats, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Kyle, let's go to you. Kyle, you and Paul and myself all have the 8. Infinite Series is the morning line favorite for Safi Joseph and Irad. This is a horse that costs $100,000 at OBS March sale. He's by Tiznow out of a quality road mare, Waves of Blue. What does he like about this one, Kyle?
Well, I'll tell you 3 things. I love the work pattern of this horse leading up to this race. Just granted, that bullet 2 back is what people are going to look at, but just the consistent work. Says even you can even go back farther than October. Just a consistent work tab for a Safi horse in Florida. Tiznow doesn't win a lot of his first time starter races with juveniles, but this, I mean, the dam. If you take a look at Waves of Blue, she won her race first time out. She won on debut at Gulfstream, actually, I believe at 6. Yeah.
There it is on the bottom of the screen. Yep, the mom won with a 68 buyer going wire to wire in the slop. Correct.
So that's another thing I like, and just the straight connections. As we all know, Safi and Gulfstream is a match made in heaven most days. Gets Irad with Peachtree Stable, who's a really nice trainer down there that takes all their horses with Safi. So I'm gonna take the connections and with the breeding. I'm gonna take well, I'm not gonna take a shot with the 8 considering it's favored. Surprise, surprise. Kyle picks the chalk, but go with the 8.
Paul, do you want to say anything else about the 8? And I'll let you talk about the 1, who is my second choice, Siggy's second choice, and Kyle's third choice. Paul.
Yeah, I think this is a race that Pete Visco is going to love, except when he does his stats of the day, they're almost all negative. You know, I myself did some digging, Howard, and Anna Mia is 0 for 16 with 2-year-old for a first-time starter. She has the 4. Arrogate as a first-time starter sire is 4 for 59. Tiznow is 7%, by the way, but Safi himself is 14%. Jose Garofalo, the 9, 1 for 27. So you might as well throw them out the window. I just think this horse is well meant, as Kyle points out. Great work tab. I like the bullet in the second to last position in a longer work. And the only question I have, Howard, and you mentioned the breeding, you would think that this horse is meant to run longer eventually, but they have to start somewhere, and this colt is starting here.
Let me throw out a few things that I have gathered because I did a lot of research. First of all, as all you should know, you have to look at the will pay double probables going into the next race. So before you bet your pick 5 in race 7, you should see who's favored in race 8. And if you look at the will pay probable doubles, you can see that. I agree about the breeding, but here's the thing I would push back slightly with the Tiznow angle. I love Tiznow, and he's only 7%, but we are in late December here, guys, so it's not like these are really babies anymore. They're more like probably middle school age kids at this point. The 2-year-old's about to turn 3. That was one thing, guys, that I thought about. I want to talk about these works. The work on October 29th. Let me go full screen, guys. The work on October 29th, I did see on XBTV, and he was third best in that work, and he was asked a little bit from the outside. I know it says breezing, guys, but let me tell you something. That work on October 29th was not breezing. I'm going to respectfully disagree. However, Safi Joseph put the 8 with 2 other horses were in that work. It was a 3-team work, gentlemen, and the other 2 horses that Infinite Series worked with both were debut winners. So Safi thinks very highly of this horse. I think that is a big plus. Some other horses to think about, and we've got this horse in second. Number 1, Araj. Jose D'Angelo is very good. He is 19% with his first time 2-year-old maidens, 43% in the money, and he's got Saez. And did you see this 46 breezing down in Palmetto? So I think this horse is going to be sent from the inside. This is not a very, the inside can be tricky, and the dam didn't do much, but was a 5-furlong turf sprinter. I think the 1 guy is going to show speed is my point. And I think Saez, that shows a lot of intent. So I think the 1 is a bit interesting. Really quick also on some other ones. The number 2, Secret Threat, number 4, Collect This Money are meant to go long. I'm not going to get a lot of details. The 3 has a filly. This is a 3 is by Cantheros out of a fast Street Sense mare. You can see he had shown a lot of speed. So I think the 3 is going to show speed. I'm not sure about Brendan Walsh first time out. I'm not sure about the class. So I agree with Siggy. And by the way, the 7. Can we finish talking about the 7 here? Or sorry, not the 7. No, that's another race I'm thinking about. I apologize. The 9 I don't like, Paul, because he's got a drinking problem. I mean, obviously.
So I hold that against
the
him.
9 is, Demasiado Cerveza. He's going to be like wobbling all over the place and everything. So I don't like the 9. But anyway, there's some food for thought. And any other final comments, Kyle, Paul, or Siggy about this race?
Yeah, Howard, I would just mention I also picked the 1 second, and JFG Thoroughbreds is my friend Joe Grafeo, and you might remember him as part of the ownership group of Con Lima.
Yes.
Whom I had the chance to interview prior to, did the advance on a stakes race at Saratoga, and he won the race. So,
yes.
Great guy, Joe Grafeo. He's a Florida guy. He runs a great operation, and he is the owner of the 1.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate all that info. All right, guys. So again, look at the double will pays. Siggy thinks the 6 will win and wire the field. We're going with some first-time starters. You got to look at the board, everyone. Please look at the board before the race for the double will pays. All right, let's move on to the next race, guys. Race 9. There are 2 turf races in the sequence. This is where we got to go full screen, guys. Let me bring them back full screen. The weather in Florida has been shaky this week. Siggy, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there's been some rain in Florida. They were off the turf today. They were off the turf yesterday. It looks like it's going to clear up a little bit, but my guess, and this is completely a guess, Siggy and Kyle and Paul, that these 2 turf races will be on the turf, but all the other races will be off the turf. I'm just guessing. They do have synthetic race also, though, so they could race these on synthetic, but they want to save this turf course. So, Paul, I mean, we don't know what the weather looks like, but
did you catch the announcement? Did you catch the announcement today about the 5 furlong turf races in this current condition book?
I did.
They're all going to be off the turf?
Yes.
So we've been boasting about this great turf course that they're just, reusing again. And now we have to take all a specific category of race off the turf.
Well, hold on. Siggy, there's some noise. Is there some noise in the background, Siggy, for you? There's some people. Okay.
Oh,
there they are. Okay, are they leaving? There's a little bit too much noise in the background for you, Siggy. That's okay. We'll deal with it. Okay. Sorry for the background noise. Siggy's got a party. Una fiesta. And Tsukasa. I think what they're doing, Paul, is they want to save the turf course for the biggest races. And I don't think it's a concern, but I think I tweeted this out that I think the 5 furlong turf races chop up the turf the most because they're running the fastest and the hardest. And then they just want to save it. I personally have no problem with it. I hate 5 furlong turf sprints anyway because it's usually a highway. We've seen it a million times. So sorry, Paul. I think whoever gets to the lead wins those races.
Turf snob.
I'm sorry. I just don't like them. So anyway, I hear you. I apologize to everyone in the back. Siggy, are people still at your house? Did they just leave, it looks like? Or no? Maybe you can turn your volume down a little bit, Siggy, because there's a lot of noise in the background. Yeah. But that's okay. We'll deal with it, everyone. Everyone just bear with us, folks. So I'm guessing this is going to be on the turf. Let me go ahead and show the banners there. There you go. Okay. Race 9. This is the Alan Jerkins handicap, and I'm assuming it's going to be on turf. They might switch it to PETA. They are going for $100,000. This is 2 miles. That's not a typo. 2 miles. That is how many furlongs, Kyle?
16.
16. There you go. 16 furlongs. Siggy, do they run a lot of races 2 miles in Uruguay?
No. It's a very weird distance.
Yes, very weird distance. You're going to go, Siggy, with the number. Sorry, there's the field there. Sorry. It's a field of 12. And the morning line favorite is the number 10, Value Engineering, for Maker and Jose Ortiz. But Kyle, check it out. Siggy is going with the Illinois bred. We're both from Illinois, Siggy, Kyle, and myself. The number 3, another mystery for James Gullick and Irad Ortiz. Go ahead, Siggy. What do you like about this race?
Well, you just see his last races. He faced Red Knight twice and he almost beat him. Red Knight is a great stakes race, great
Yeah.
stakes winner, multiple great stakes winner. He has a final run, and it seems he's dropping in class in this race.
Okay. And Chris Block used to train this horse. Kyle, I have no intel as to why they're switching to James Gullick, but this horse is very good, Siggy. He's consistent. I think the distance. By the way, he's by Temple City out of a Lord at War mare. Lord at War is from Argentina, Siggy. So he's got a little South American breeding there. And you are going with the number 12 in second. This is a horse I really like. The number 12 is Agitare, an Irish bred. Why do you like this horse, Siggy?
Well, this is a tricky horse. He was running pretty bad in Europe. Then he came to America to Fair Hills, and he won. He romped in this distance, 2 miles. But
Yes.
if this is another track, it was a yielding that day. I'm using him because he won for fun that day, and I don't know, but it seems he really loved the distance.
Oh, he definitely liked the distance. And
Yes.
Kyle, let me go ahead and Siggy, I'm just going to mute you just for a second here so we can cut down on the noise. Kyle, you and I are both going with this horse. And when I saw the morning line, this has got a little feeling to me of a Juniper Marshmallow kind of feel from last week, Paul. I don't know if we're getting 8-1 on this horse. There are a lot of things I like. I'll let you talk first, Kyle, about the 12.
I'll tell you what, like, I don't know. I'm sure you did watch the Far Hills replay, but I watched it. This horse just
Where did
literally
you do?
looks
I couldn't find it.
Naira on the Naira bet. Yeah.
You know what? I didn't.
gotta
I
remember,
apologize to all my Naira brethren. I have to. Well, tell me about it because I honestly haven't seen it yet, and I wanted to see
It's
it.
Monmouth at Far Hills is also what you got to remember when you go there. It's not just Far Hills. When you go to the replay, it's Monmouth at Far Hills.
It's under the M's.
Yes, correct. Because I had
Go
trouble
ahead.
finding it as well.
Thanks for the info. Go ahead.
You're good. This horse just looks like it can run for miles. I mean, like watching that race, this horse was up pretty decently close to the pace after a pretty early move. And I mean, the horse literally just exploded. It came across the stretch because at Far Hills they have a stretch, I believe, of like that they bring the horses out on. Just right when he crossed that, it's at about the top of the stretch, probably a furlong and a half out of the flint, and just gone. Not even like without anyone even coming near him. Basso, who was also in this race, was with him most of the race actually after he made the early move, but just absolutely exploded by it past everyone.
When did he was he tactical early? When did he make his move?
It was pretty early, honestly. I mean, 2-mile race. I would probably say like a half mile in. He was very tactical. I mean,
so he got out of the gate fine. It looks like he wants more forward, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
okay.
That would be my guess, and that's what I'm hoping for in this type of race. Because I'm sure as we go through these PPs, you can literally see there is absolutely no speed at all in this race. Which, granted, again, it's a 2-mile race, so it doesn't necessarily have the typical race flow that we all think of with American racing. But still, I'd like to have someone at least put early into the race here.
I want to say a few things about Agitare, and then Paul, we'll let you talk about your top pick. A few things I like, and Siggy, I'm going to bring you. I was just muting you a little bit because of the sound, but Siggy, I've got you back on now. You can speak. Did you look at the weight break that Agitare is in for 123 pounds, Siggy? And he was racing at 144 pounds. That's 21 pounds less. And so, Siggy, did you notice the weight situation? When in Europe, Siggy, he was running at 131, 133, 137. Now he's only in for 123. That has to help this horse, right? Siggy?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Agitare is only running at 123 pounds. And he's been running at a lot more weight, so that has to help him, correct?
Yes, he was running 144.
Yeah.
Oh, that was too much.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, so he gets a big weight break. I'm going to take you off again, Siggy, for a second here. Sorry, Siggy, about that. I'll tell you what else I like, Kyle and Paul, about this horse. You look at the last race, it wasn't a bad field. In fact, Paul, there's a horse you should know pretty well, Cross Border, a New York bred, and this is a nice horse. Maybe he just didn't handle the track. I don't know, but I mean, he beat Cross Border by a solid 4 lengths, Paul. You would have to think if Cross Border was in this race, he'd be a favorite, right, Paul? So when you try to figure out the class of this horse, I think he fits class-wise. He was under great care. James Bolger is a very good trainer in Europe. And yes, he lost. He was 40 to 1, 25 to 1, 50 to 1. But he was running respectable races in Group 3, and he was losing to Pearls Galore, Lafayette, Kiprios. These are very good horses. So I hope Julian, Paul, I know you're a huge fan of Julian Leperoux. I'm hoping that Julian is not wide. It says on the form it starts on a bend. That is incorrect. I just want everyone to know at the top of the page here, it looks like that they start on a bend. That is not correct. I went back and watched last year's Alan Jerkin Stakes at 2 years old, and it was just they start on the straightaway on the actually in front of the stands, and it's an easy run to the first turn. So I'm hoping Leperoux finds a way. Last thing, Paul, sorry for going on here. The trainer, I think you know this trainer, Carrie Brion, is an excellent jumps trainer. But she also trains flat horses, and she can train horses that get a distance. So that doesn't concern me either. All that being said, Kyle's going to go with Mr. Maker, Value Engineering, formerly trained by Chad Brown. I'm assuming this is just a private purchase. What do you like about Value Engineering, Paul?
Well, what I like about Value Engineering, Howard, is I find in these races with these odd distances, the real marathons, that people mistakenly gravitate toward closers, and it's like the Belmont Stakes on steroids. I want a horse who's going to be tactical and, frankly, who has the lead coming home, because my philosophy is, how hard is anyone closing after running 15 furlongs? So I think this horse is going to be tactical under Jose Ortiz. I wouldn't normally be thrilled betting a horse coming out of Chad Brown's barn, but Mike Maker with older horses running marathons is an absolute specialty for him. I will say, Howard, I came very close to picking the 12 on top. I believe I picked the 12 third. Kerry Brion, you mentioned, is just finished a story on Leslie Young, who was the top steeplechase trainer last year by wins. The top steeplechase trainer by earnings was Kerry Brion, with over $1 million in earnings on the steeplechase circuit, which is quite a feat. She can train flat horses, and obviously, if this horse can run 2 miles over hurdles, then he could run 2 miles on the flat all day. I'm sure Mr. Leperoux will only have him behind about a mile. He probably should only have a mile to make up. And I think he probably will be coming hard, and maybe he can make up that full mile deficit that he'll be behind.
Let me tell you something about Value Engineering, Paul. If you like Value Engineering, I don't see how you can't like the number 9, Canenos. They've raced against each other a few times. Canenos, by the way, has beaten Value Engineering before. And this is the other Maker, Paul. That? This is the other Michael Maker with Saez, second off the layoff, who I think will appreciate a longer distance. I don't know if Value Engineering wants to go this far, Paul. I'm using this horse, but I have to say I'm a bit against this horse. I think he's going to be the favorite, and I don't know. Every time I watch him, Paul, I don't think he's getting better as the race goes longer. So I don't know. I'm not saying he can't win, but at the price, if you like the 10, you have to like the 9, at least in my opinion. Take a look at some of those replays, everyone. We're not going to go back. But Canenos beat Value Engineering on September 16th, Paul, at Belmont, going 1.25 miles, and then barely lost to him at Saratoga by like 2 lengths, a length and a half. But I thought Canenos had some trouble in the July 31st race. So, Paul, you might want to go back and take a look at that. I'm not suggesting you're wrong by any accounts, but I'm just telling people, viewers at home, pay attention to the 9 Canenos. I think he wants to go longer, and that's another Michael Maker.
By the way, the difference in price is exactly one slot, Howard. It's not like the 9 is a huge price and the 10 is 7-2 versus 9-2.
I hear you. I would bet dollars to donuts that Canenos will be twice the price of value engineering. On
I wouldn't bet against. I would. I think you might be right on that.
I think it's be like 5-2 and like 5-1.
Yeah.
Just a guess. Which, by the way, Paul, for you math geniuses out there, is twice as much. It's 2.5 times 2. Just want to bring that up to everyone. Point taken, Paul. But I think Caneos can be a bigger price, and I think value engineering could take more money. Just my opinion.
I agree.
All right, guys. Let's go on to the next race. And Siggy, we're going to bring you back on. I guess Siggy, you're on the screen, but I took the volume off because some people were complaining about the background noise. Sorry, Siggy. That's why I have you muted here. But we'll bring you back on, Siggy. Let's go to the next race. Now, race 10. We got 2 more races. This is the other. Why is it not switching over? There we go. Okay. No, this is actually the 6 furlong race. 6 furlongs, optional, claiming 25,000 on the dirt. You see the field here. The morning line favorite, let me go ahead and switch the banners here. The morning line favorite is the number 7, and everyone except Kyle has the 7 nitrous channel for Weaver and Gaff Leon. Siggy, as I'm go ahead and bring you back on screen here, the 7 is off a layoff, has not run since March, but looks pretty tough. Go ahead, Siggy.
Yes, I'm getting the chalk in this race. Nitro Channel, okay, he hasn't run since March, but he looked like a pretty good horse running against nice horses like Provocateur. Provocateur
Yes.
is a Fletcher horse, and he's a good sprinter. I don't care too much about the long layoff because George Weaver is a very, very nice trainer. I mean, coming from a long layoff, and I think he would have Nitrous Channel ready for this race.
Yes, right there. If you can see on the screen, Siggy, and everyone on the top, with a 6-month layoff or more, Siggy, George Weaver is winning at 18%, which is very good.
Yes.
And in the money, 47%, which I'm sure my astute co-host Kyle or Paul would have brought up. So, Siggy, to your point, George Weaver does a very good job off of layoffs. My only concern, Siggy, is he was a very talented 3-year-old. There must have been an injury or an issue or something for him not to run this long. Do you think that's a valid concern?
Yes, he surely had an issue. That's logical. But of course, it's a bit of a concern. I'm not singling him because the long layoff.
Yes.
But I know George Weaver always do a good job with this kind of horses with a long layoff.
Yes, he's very good. Let me give you my quick opinion on the number 7. Me encanta este caballo número 7. Tiene velocidad temprana y es muy rápido y consistente. Kyle, what did I just say?
I don't know if that's I don't know if my high school Spanish is going to take over there. I'm going to be honest.
Siggy, why don't you translate for Kyle and Paul? What did I just say?
The Nitro Channel has a lot of speed. It's a very consistent horse.
And I love him. There you go.
Yes.
That's what I said. Okay. How did I do, Siggy? Okay? I see? Eh?
Yes, no, it's pretty good.
Pretty good, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Paul, we don't need to talk about the 7 too much, I don't think. I mean, if he runs his race, he's the horse to beat. If you're worried about slow works, Paul, I went back. I'm going to show all the works. I went back to see how he was working, before his first start, and he was working pretty slow. So if you look at these series, I know it's a little bit hard to tell on the screen, everyone, but if you look at the series of works, Paul, even when he was, primed and ready to go, he was working relatively slow. So to me, that's a very good sign, Paul, that the fact he hasn't been working fast in his comeback races doesn't concern me too much. You're going with the 1, Paul, in second. That's He's in Charge for Kelly Breen and Paco.
Yes, and I like the 7 quite a bit. You'll see when we get to tickets that I did on the Caveman ticket. I did single him, but I do think I think the Paco is always ascend, and being on the inside is not going to bother him at all. I just think Howard, if the 7 loses, it is because of the layoff. But he seems to be well meant. Interesting that Weaver is putting the blinkers on, where he ran the first 2 starts without it. He's this horse you had to think was on the Derby trade. Remember the Hutchison is that was in March, and with a really good effort there. Do they take a shot at one of the final preps? Who knows? But they'll tell you what, they paid $625,000 for the horse. But you asked me about the one, and I think it's a product of being in the right spot, and I think Paco is going to be much more aggressive than virtually every jockey he's had, other than Pratt, and I guess Colby Hernandez sent him once. But I just my thinking on the one was I think he is going to be right on top of the pace, and I frankly I don't think it's that difficult a race, to be honest with you.
Kyle, I stole your thunder because you had the one on top. I should let you speak first.
Yes, you should have. He would have been much more eloquent than me.
Well, that's not saying very much, but Kyle, any thoughts? Florida bred, by the way, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I know this might be the first time ever, so everyone just screenshot, because this might be the first time I'm playing against the chalk and everyone else is picking it. So just for you at home, that's So, but again, the only thing why I'm thinking that the one might, like Paul said, the only horse that's going to beat the 7 is the 1, in my opinion. The 8 has really good numbers, and I know Siggy has him in 3rd as well, but I don't know. It's just the 7 looks so well meant, and like Howard pointed out, hold on. Okay, now
Kyle, this horse is your delight for this week. This is like your delight last week pick.
All right, I'll take it.
Go ahead, tell us why he's in charge. He's going to win. Go ahead.
No, the only reason why I'm picking against the 7 is I know George Weaver is very good off the layoff, but there's a big gap in works. But there's problem, like Howard said, it's most likely some type of injury, or because, as Paul pointed out, he's probably on the Derby trail after that first win. Pointed to the Hutchinson, ran pretty decently again behind a really nice horse in Provocateur, and where'd he go? So he puts the blinkers on, coming back after long work. There's going to be horses that, again, maybe not as fast as him based on his previous races, but there are horses that are going to want to go with him early. If there's one horse that's going to beat the 7 for me, it's going to be the 1 with Paco, and that's the way I'm going to try and go.
All right.
And blow up the pick 5.
So Nitrous Channel's got a 1:15 early time for him. Now, who knows if he's got that speed? And Paul, my guess is he'd be pointed, if he was healthy, he would have pointed, like to the Alan Jerkins and the Woody Stevens.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. More
I'm
likely.
not sure he was going to the Derby, but your point is taken. He was going to go to some big time stakes over the summer.
Yeah, they started late. February 5th is a late start too. I'm just saying though, you never know. If he had won that Hutchison by 8, you never know.
No, you never know. 2 things I don't like about the 1. I don't know about the speed guy. He's got an 85 early time for him. There's other horses that have more speed. I know Paco likes to send from the rail, but I don't think that's going to happen in this situation for him getting the lead. He's also in for 25,000. Guys, I hate that angle. And it's usually been pretty good for me. I know he's gone through his conditions, Kyle and Paul, and that's why he's in for 25. But I don't see the upside here. And he's off since June. I don't know. He's fresh. Maybe he's better than I give him credit for. The ones I'm sort of fooling around with are the 3 and the 4. The 4 has a 1:18 early time for him, guys. So, and he's off the claim for Elizabeth Dobless, who is good off the claim. So to me, the speed is the 4, like by far. If the 1's in front of the 4 early, I'll be absolutely shocked. I think the 4 is the one that's a little bit dangerous if the 7 can't run. This is the horse to me that's going to get to the lead and maybe improve off the claim. And if they go crazy, maybe Sonny Leone, the Kentucky Derby winning rider, can come over the top with the number 3, Celestial Gaze. The 7 is clearly the horse to beat. I think we'd all agree with that. But I don't like the 1 at all. Totally respect Paul and Kyle. I don't like the 1 even a little bit. The 1 will be nowhere on my ticket. Guys, as we go to the last race, and we appreciate everyone joining tonight, we'll talk about the pick 5. We'll let Siggy go first with his pick 5, guys, and then I'm going to take him off the screen because of the background noise. Race 11, Siggy, you're going to go first. This is a maiden optional $40,000 claimer. It's scheduled for the turf, 1 mile. You see it's a field of 9, and the morning line favorite is the number 2, Outperform, for Todd Pletcher and Irad Ortiz. An extremely good combination. And as I switch over to the picks there we go. And Siggy, I'm going to let you go ahead now. I took the mic back off there. Siggy, you're going to go with the number 2, Outperform, who was pulled up last time, Siggy. You're going with a horse that didn't finish the race last time.
Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm going with all the favorites in the sequence.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to life.
We're
Well-
going to call him Kyle Jr. Kyle. You got a new friend, Kyle. Go ahead, Siggy.
Okay. Well, Outperform. Yes, he stumbled at the start in his last race. And the thing I like with this horse is his best races has been on turf. If the race is on the turf, I will use him. I don't know if this race is going to be off the turf. If the race is on the turf, I think Outperform is the deserving favorite. It's dropping in class, and
Yep. This is the
Yes,
last.
well-
This is the last race, by the way. I'm going to show you this race because the number 4 horse, guys, Unexpected Outcome is also in this race. So watch the 8 and the 10. Okay, the 10 is Outperform is right here, Siggy, on the outside, and you see when they break, he does stumble pretty badly. We'll see it here in just a second. Right there, he took a stutter step right there, and he got back into the race okay. Unexpected Outcome is right here, guys, the 8 and the Klarovich. You see the 8's a little bit in tight. You guys see that right there? And he's in tight and had to check and steady. I'm going to move forward. Here's the 10 Outperform, Siggy. I'm going to go ahead and move forward a little bit. And you can see Outperform is right here, guys. And he didn't get in any trouble. He just pulls him up out of the race like for no reason. Right here, guys. I don't know what happened, but he just pulled him out of the race right there. Here's the number. Here's expected outcome. I'm gonna let it roll into the stretch. Here's the 8, finishing okay, but not great. There's really not much else to show. So Siggy, we don't know what happened to your 2 horse, but he didn't get checked or steadied or fall. He just pulled up, maybe pulled a muscle, Siggy. What do you think happened? I don't know.
yes, we don't know. But if you see he worked out 15 days later, so
Yes.
probably it wasn't nothing biggie.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'm glad you
Yes.
brought that up. Kyle, you're going with the 2 also. You're not concerned either. I think Siggy makes an excellent point, Kyle, that the horse did come back and work relatively quickly. However, they're just dropping in for a tag. So there's plus and minuses,
Mixed
right, Kyle?
feelings. Yes.
Yes,
That's
mixed
exactly.
feelings, Siggy.
That's exactly right, and that's what I was going to say. Siggy brings up a great point, which I was going to point out as well. Comes back in 15 days, and runs a really respectable 48-3. So it's not like he came back and worked, a 52 or a 53. And I wouldn't. And like I said, they are dropping him in for the tag. That I was working back and forth with how I was going to go about that. It's realistically, I don't know if Rippoli just wants to get rid of him or there actually is something wrong, but I'm going to take, like I said, there was steadily improving the entire way through until that last start where he stumbled. So by gun runner, I'm going to take a shot with this one because, realistically, there are some decent horses in here, but I think this horse's good effort at that 79-80 range is good enough to win this race.
Paul, you and I are both going with the 4. This is the Chad Brown. Sort of similar profile in that a high-profile connection dropping in for 40. Paul, I don't know how you feel in general about these horses. Their stock, their shed row is so good that I just don't think Klarovich and Rippoli, they're not interested in horses that aren't going to win stakes. So that's why, for the same reason you guys like the 2, I like the 4. I don't think there's anything wrong. They just don't think the horse is talented enough, and they're trying to put him in a spot that he can win. Right, Paul?
Yeah, Seth Klarman is not going to be afraid to take a loss on a horse. He's doing okay. He can afford to every once in a while have a miss. You know, I think, Howard, you're supposed to be honest with you. I think you're supposed to try to find a way to beat both of these horses, but the field is so weak that I ended up picking one of them.
Paul,
You know, the two.
totally agree with you on that statement.
The two is a Rapoli homebred out of Gun Runner. Todd Pletcher trained. The last thing they were thinking when they brought this horse to the racetrack was, hey, maybe we're going to be running at a maiden optional claiming at Gulfstream someday.
I agree.
You know, I mean, this is not out of the micropole. I think this is a 100% fire sale. Doesn't mean the horse can't win. I think there's zero turf pedigree. You know, there's a little, I mean, on the dam sire Street Cry, but even on the dam, you know, and Gun Runner, I'd have to check. I think in the brief research I did, I don't know that there've been many turf winners out of it. I just don't like this horse. He can beat me. Now, having said that, if I'm 4 for 4, you know, I don't want to screw the TRF and not hit the pick 5 if this horse wins. So, you know, the horse will be on my ticket, but you're really supposed to try to beat both of these horses. And I almost put the 7 on top for that reason, Howard. You know, it's Safi Joseph. His going dirt to turf and roots is only 9%, so it's not a high percentage move. But you know, Jose will have the horse more forward. You would think he would have him more forward than he's been. I don't know. I think this is a very tough race, and on all honesty, if you're playing the pick 5, I think you want to be as deep as you can. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I thought the 4, you guys saw the replay. I thought the 4 had some legitimate trouble earlier.
Yeah, he was okay.
I wouldn't be shocked if Gaffleon was sending this 4. I think the 4's got more speed than it looks. He's no killer. I took a look at the 3 also. I don't know what you guys thought. I got the 3 and 3rd. Paul's got the 3 and 3rd. Maybe, you know, we saw last week, the last race, a horse won from synthetic to turf. So maybe this horse has got some upside. I don't know. To me, it's probably the 2 or the 4. But Paul, I agree that I'd love to try to like beat one of these two with like a real clever opinion. I just don't have it in this race. Siggy, I'm gonna let you go first with your pick 5, and then I'll let you go for the night. I know it's late there. By the way, it's past 11 o'clock in Uruguay right now, everyone.
Yes.
So Siggy is up late joining us tonight. Siggy, I'm going to show your pick 5 ticket. It's on the screen right there. Let me take that off, and let me take this off here. Let me read it, because we have people that listen with audio only and can't see your ticket. So let me read the numbers, Siggy, and then you can talk about it. Siggy is going 268 with 146 with 2312 with 178 with 2. So Siggy, you're singling the Pletcher Rapoli horse on the end. That is your most likely winner of the sequence, correct?
Yes, another horse I like, the number 2 in the first leg. Yes, but I'm trying to beat that horse. I don't know, but I'm trying to beat that favorite. Yes.
And the 7, did you consider singling the 7 in the previous race, or no? The one off the layoff, Nitrous Channel.
No, the long layoff is always a concern. And
okay.
Yes.
And you're using the 1 also, so you like the 1 a little bit in the last race also.
Yeah, I know you.
So I'm muy stupido. I'm the only one not using the 1.
You don't like that horse.
Si, senor.
Okay. Well, Siggy, we're going to let you go. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
Siggy, you proved yourself muy inteligente. We appreciate it, man. We'd love to have you on again. Please spread the word to all your friends in Latin America about our podcast. We have picks below the screen. People can buy our picks and our choices. They can look below the video player. Siggy, please continue to follow us on Twitter. And Siggy, what's your Twitter handle, real quickly, for everyone?
Siggy Mendoza 83.
Siggy Mendoza 83. Yeah.
Yes.
Follow Siggy. He's a fantastic follow. Siggy, good night, my friend. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siggy. Pleasure.
Bye.
All right. Good night,
Thanks,
Siggy.
Siggy.
Bye-bye. All right. Again, sorry, guys, for the sound. I know there was a lot of background noise going on, but guys, Siggy was fantastic. It's so cool to talk to people throughout the world. You know, I mean, there's people that have great minds everywhere. You can tell that he knows what he's talking about. And English is probably not overly comfortable with too. So we appreciate. He had a lot of similar opinions that we did, guys. And I think he didn't know who the favorites were, so he probably didn't see the morning lines. I'm guessing because he was a little surprised about the morning line situation. Paul, we're going to you, Mr. Pick 5. Hit for over 2,000. Is everyone at home listening? This guy hit for over 2,000. How big will his ticket be this week? Well, it's actually in between. Paul, you're going to need some explaining here. Paul's ticket for $40.50 under budget would be 238 with 178, with 310 12 with 7, with 247. If you wanted to go to $54, Paul would add the 3 in the last race. Paul, go ahead.
Yes, well, this is I am trying to follow Mr. Miller's instructions. So the second ticket will be played for the benefit of the TRF with the 3. And Matt and I will work out those details. Matt, this is a long-term commitment from Mr. Miller. It's not a one-shot deal.
That's amazing.
Awesome. And mainly what we want to do is make fun of you, Howard, and the budget. And I would think that everyone would agree, Kyle. We did a hell of a job with that tonight, wouldn't you say, Kyle?
Last time, yeah. And like I said, it rubbed in his face last
But
week.
Howard is glad to be made fun of at the expense of the TRF.
Yes, he is.
Paul, what if we push the budget up to 75? I don't know if Matt Miller's pockets could handle tickets for $75.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, I'm going to play the, as I say, he and I are still working out details. We've spent a lot of time on this, believe it or not, over the last week. And as I said, it came on me so quickly that, we reached out to me Friday and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. We'll figure that out. And, lightning struck on Saturday. But so anyway, back to the ticket. I think that race, Howard, the long layoff horse, is a very likely winner. And frankly, I think it's one of those races we talk about a lot that either you single or you go 3 or 4 or 5 deep. So I think, that other, the 2 in the first leg, Howard, you asked Siggy about that. That's a possible single if you wanted to go in that direction. I don't know. I just think that George Weaver, and let me just say this, Howard, let me add this, and I know we're running almost a little late. If you want to get a reason to root for that 7, I think it's been well documented. George Weaver's wife, Cindy, was involved in a very, very serious training accident in Saratoga before the meet, actually. It was right around July 4th. She was actually in Boston, Howard, for many months at Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital, which is one of the best rehabilitation hospitals in the world. It's about 12 miles from where I'm talking to you right now. It's right in Charlestown. You can see the USS Constitution out the window. But anyway, Cindy has improved to the point where she has been able to go home to their home in Florida, and she is doing rehab down there. And, George, there was a story out the other day saying, she still has a long, long way to go, but, they're thankful she's at this point. So, continued prayers for the Weavers. George is a great guy, and I just wanted to get that in. But, yeah, I think, you go with the most likely winner, Howard. In my opinion, it's going to be that 7, and I want to be at least 3 or 4 deep in that last race. I almost went 5 deep and made it a $60 ticket, and I might before Saturday. I have that. I have the golden ticket, like on American Idol or whatever the hell that show is. Matt Miller has given me the golden ticket, so whatever I want to do.
Paul, on the bottom of the screen, I want Brad Anderson, a good friend of mine and friend of the show, also hit that pick 5. In fact, a bunch of people hit the pick 5 that you gave out last week, Paul.
I am humbled, Howard, by Brad Anderson getting anything off of my handicapping. Believe me.
Oh no, we're excited. I did not have the 8, and I feel.
Howard, I should say, by the way, people need to know that we all have tough beats. You had a tough weekend. You were 5 deep in that leg and didn't hit it. And I'm not bringing this up to bust your chops. I'm saying Sunday you're alive for 18 grand at Aqueduct with the favorite, which, by the way, Howard, I didn't have the heart to text you before the race. The one situation I hate in those cases is being alive only to the favorite. I mean, I know but anyway, and you had the other, and then I'm thinking, Howard, the day after I hit for 2,200, if we had got together Sunday morning, I'd just said play them both in the last leg, and we'll go 360. Yeah, whatever. But it's your turn. That's a tough weekend. You were right on target with stuff.
I appreciate it. And I had the horse that won on Sunday. I know we're digressing. I bet was a 10-strike horse that I actually liked the last time he ran.
Right.
In fact, I texted Marshall Graham a month ago and I said, this horse seems interesting. He's off a layoff, blah, blah, blah. And he ran huge, like 13-1. And I didn't single that horse. I singled a horse that has the name Patrick in it, by the way, Kyle. But he looked logical for Linda and Lascano. And you don't forget about the pick 6 bad beat in the summer, Paul. In the
I know.
So it's you know, when you play horizontally, this is not spilled milk, guys, but when you play horizontally, these things are going to happen, and this is why it only takes one ticket to make your entire year. Now, I'm going to move on, but the point is, I had a very good January through March. I'm not going to go through all my scores. People know about it, whatever. So I'm way up for the year. But that being said, it could have been an all-timer year if one of those horses had come in, but they didn't. So that's the way it goes. And the pick 5, I should have had the 8, and I didn't. That was wrong. I was completely wrong in the last race. The last thing I'm going to say, Paul, before I bring up my pick 5, to me, this feels like very much of an ABC sequence, because if the 2 wins the first leg, and if the 7 Nitrous Channel wins the penultimate leg, you're going to want to have this more than once. So
correct.
This is one of those. This is not like last week to me, Paul. To me, this leaves. I think there's going to be big chalk that's going to win, and there could be some big prices, but I don't think it's going to be in the races with the big chalk. Just my opinion. I think you're going to get 2 low prices and then maybe some chaos. So we'll see. My pick 5. I know they're wondering, who did Howard single? Who do you guys think I did single, if I singled at all? Did I single the 2 in the first leg, Nitrous Channel, maybe one of the Chad or the Fletcher in the last race? What do you guys think? Or no?
The 12 horse.
Oh, I don't think he has the balls for that. I'm going to say the 2.
Whoa.
Take it easy.
Hey, Howard, I got technical foul.
Yeah, give him the T, Paul. That's
everybody's soft. Everybody's soft.
Well, here it is, boys. I did single someone. And I went with the 2 in the first leg. I mean, look, guys, it's the cheaper of the races we talked about. My pick 5 ticket under budget, 2 with 138, with 3, 8, 9, 10, 12, with 3, 4, 7, with 2, 4. It's $45. Let me say this: I don't. The 7 is probably a more likely winner than the 2 in the first leg, just because the 7's a classier horse. The layoff still concerns me just a little bit, guys. And just for me, there's more horses in race 10 that can beat the 7 than there are in the first leg. Like, I get the California horse, Paul, but I don't know. Is he that good to beat the 2? And it just, the choices in the first leg and in race 10 to beat the chalks just aren't very good. And so, I don't know. I don't love the 2 in the first race as a single, but I had to single somewhere, and that's my ticket. I have that as an A. I have the 7 as a lone A in race 10. To me, the chaos race is race 9, the Agitari race. Even though I like Agitari quite a bit, the 12. I don't know, guys. They're going 2 miles. Take a look at the 8. I didn't mention the 8 on the show. The 8 horse, and I don't recall the name, but take a look at the 8 horse. Time for trouble. Something. Time for trouble. Look at the 8 horse in race 9, everyone. Paul, this would be, and by the way, we didn't even talk about your try either. This would be a very successful back wheel reverse key horse for me, would be the 8 horse in race 9. This horse is by English Channel out of a Galileo mare. Is that correct, Paul? I'm now looking at the PPs.
Very good.
This horse might be getting better, and I would think would love the distance. In a race that's completely wide open, Paul and Kyle, the 8 would be a great underneath horse, in my opinion, as a reverse key or back wheel. And I hit a nice try. I sent it to you guys on Sunday with a horse that I touted out at Aqueduct. And Paul, you had the back wheel angle in the last race also on Saturday,
the 5.
correct?
I like that 5 who actually drifted up. I think he went at 25-1, maybe.
Finished third, right?
Boy, wouldn't we have loved if he got underway a little earlier, Howard? Huh? You and I were both alive for 10 large, extra
Oh my
large.
God, that would have been fantastic.
But yeah, I paid $300 for $1 with reasonable prices above them, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's my ticket, guys. I'm playing an ABC. I'm gonna try to hit it multiple times. That's how I feel about this sequence. Kyle and Paul, before we go, you guys are gonna be on the show next week, so your holiday wishes can come up next week for Christmas. But of course, Hanukkah starts this Saturday. I just want to tell you two publicly in front of everyone, because I'm not going to be on the show. Love you guys. Appreciate our friendship. Again, very Merry Christmas to both of you. And make sure you keep that guy Pete in check next week, because he's hosting. I'm not going to be on the show. It's going to be a huge audience, or it should be, because we're talking about many graded stakes on Santa Anita opening day. The weather's going to be great, by the way, next week at Santa Anita. And the Jockey Colony, again, I didn't even mention Kaz Kimura last week on the show, who's going to be there. The Jockey Colony guys and the racing is going to be unbelievable on opening day Saturday at Santa Anita.
Howard, did you show Kyle's ticket? Ralph Conti is
I was
saying
waiting for it. 2 weeks in a row, Paul. 2 weeks in a row.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, hey, Kyle, I guess you could do your ticket on your own show now.
That's right.
What is wrong with you know what, Kyle? This is completely. You know what's happening is the students are driving me crazy. I don't care if they hear this. We have final exams next week. The students are going nuts. They don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, Kyle. Kyle's ticket. It's not fine. Kyle's ticket is 2 with 138 with 3, 9, 10, 112. That's wrong. That's my fault. With 1 7, I told you with 178 with 2 4. Kyle, what should that be? Is that 11 or 12? I don't even know.
That's 12. That's your 12. That's our 12 that we liked in that race.
Almighty, what is going on here with me?
No, don't worry about it. Well, you
Kyle, your ticket is nice, affordable, $36. See, Paul, he's sealing the 2 also. I feel better.
Yeah, and I also almost, in spite of Howard, for Paul, I almost put the 7 on the end for 54, but I chose myself to keep it up.
Easy. You want to keep your show next week?
Well,
Kyle,
Kyle, just so you know, that Matt Miller offer, it's for any one of us, so that can rotate on any given week. It's not you, Howard. Kyle, myself, or Pete, not you, specifically not you. Okay, so Kyle,
watching. I know we got a lot of people watching. Do I really deserve this much crap? Do I really?
Yes.
I think I do. I think I'm a pretty nice guy. I mean, I am getting just fired at all the time. I definitely deserve to get fired for getting Kyle's ticket 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Kyle, anyway, go ahead. Go ahead
No,
with
you're
your
fine.
explanation, Kyle.
I agree with everything you said about the 2. It's just there's a lot more in my eyes. Obviously, I didn't pick the 7 on top, which for better or for worse, we'll see on Saturday. But I think there's a lot more likely horses to beat the 7 than there's to beat the 2. So I'm going to stick with the 2 in that race.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
But and then just top 3 picks in race 8. I agree with Howard that the chaos race, in my opinion, is that 2-mile race in the middle. Going to spread in the middle there. Go with the 178. Hopefully can beat that 7 to get on top. And then the 2 most logicals in the race, like we said, we'd love to beat them. I just don't see it.
Oh, I could see it happening. I'm using. I've got Paul. I've got 6 horses. I got 6 horses in that race in my ABC, Paul. I agree with you there.
Yeah, if I were alive only to those 2, and I could very well be, I would be on pins and needles overall. I would have no confidence in that.
That's
ticket.
fair.
Ralph, we didn't get to a lot of comments. I apologize, everyone, tonight. Ralph, thank you very much, Ralph. We really appreciate it. Wishes everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Ralph, don't worry about the Happy New Year part. We have several shows before New Year's and one before Christmas. But Ralph, we do appreciate your comments all year long and all the time. Last thing, Kyle, let me take this off the screen. You're a Chicago guy like me. Gullick taking over for Block on another mystery. I don't know the story behind that. I didn't read anything. Do you have any intel there?
I was going to talk about it. I actually forgot about it, so glad you brought it up. My assumption is that Jimmy has a and just for
Jimmy, like we're at first name basis now with James Gullick.
For everybody,
give me a freaking breath. Give me a break. Go ahead.
Everybody that doesn't know, a few of my horses with that I own a part of are stabled with Jimmy down in Ocala.
Okay.
Yes,
I stand corrected,
yeah,
Paul. Sorry.
no, but with James Golick, and I'm
Okay.
assuming Chris Block just didn't have a barn down. I don't know why they're actually switching it in the program. I'm assuming it's for one race, and they're going to send him back to Chris Block. Granted that they're still owned by Team Block, and obviously
Yeah,
it's a
that's right.
homebred for them as well. So I'm assuming it's just for the Florida race now, and they're probably
Okay.
going to send him back.
One of those. I never understand that, Paul. Like they switch the name of the program for one race. Like Hugh Robinson, they do the route like Mac and the Hugh.
Yeah.
That's within the family though, so I don't understand.
Like I said, it's either like Jimmy's looking for the he's the one that's going to have to enter because he has the stable, or I don't know how it works exactly, but your guess is as good as mine on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I'd bring that up. Paul, you get the last word tonight. Any other thoughts about the holidays? Anything else coming up? You got the Springboard Mile, which is a big 2-year-old race at Remington tomorrow night. They got a decent purse. I'm trying to think of anything in the news.
Well, there's two. We should say
HISA's still got.
Oh,
it's
what
not
a
going to
mess.
happen. They've got many issues.
For those of us who are involved and support the New York bred program, there are two $500,000 New York sire stakes at Aqueduct on Saturday. Now, if you think of that, to run a horse, and in the two races, David Grenning put out a stat. There was something like 20-something entered, and 17 of them are still maidens. So you imagine a horse getting his first win and picking up 300 for all you fractional owners out there. So I will definitely be paying attention to those. I have my Zilla racing hat on. They have Jackson Heights, who actually did break his maiden in a New York Stakes race at about 25-1 back in the fall. He's in one of them. But I just, plug to that program at this time of year to be running a state bred for 500,000 is just huge. So I would say that. And for the last word on this Miller situation, Howard, I want to read you, if you go into the TRF and you can read the comments of what the donors put under their donation. Matt Miller, who graciously matched my donation, said, "Contribution made to protest strict adherence to budget on podcast pick 5 bets."
I'm actually looking at it. I know you don't know this, Paul, but I switched to my email. I'm looking at it right now with a smile. He did put a smiley face underneath.
Oh, and he did tell me, Howard, he's already spoken to Kim Weir, so she doesn't think we're all out of our minds. So he has explained the situation to her. But Howard, have a great vacation. You certainly deserve it. I probably know as well as anyone the work that you put into this, having been in, not on the ground floor, but I think on the first floor. I think you were only in business a few months when my good friend Dr. Jeff Mora, who you'll meet in Saratoga, connected us. So I hope you have a great time, and I'll look forward to talking about Santa Anita next week with Pete and Kyle.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. I'll be going to Gulfstream one day with my brother, who's never been to Gulfstream. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And final shout out to Adelphi Racing, who won a main race today with a new acquisition, Royal Poppy, in race 4. They won by like 6 lengths for Ray Handel, who is having a huge meet and is on a roll. So congratulations to
I believe Ziller is I think Ziller is partners in that horse too.
They are. And Matt Cutzer actually talked to me a few weeks ago. He's like, "What do you think of this Royal Poppy horse? We're thinking about buying him." And we had a nice conversation. I thought we thought he was interesting. I'm not saying they bought him because of my suggestion, but we did talk about this horse before they purchased, and got a huge win. So congratulations to Matt Cutzer and Delphi Racing on Royal Poppy. On that note, again, happy holidays to everyone out there. I will be back the week before New Year's to talk about a huge stake race day on New Year's Eve day, December 31st at Gulfstream. And guys, we're going to have a special guest from Gulfstream Park that particular episode. So look forward to that. But I want everyone to crush their bets this weekend at Aqueduct, at Gulfstream, and definitely the day after Christmas at Santa Anita for their big opening weekend, led by the Grade 1 Malibu, and Taba is the headline horse there. Take care, everyone. Have a great night, and good luck with all of your bets. Take care.